No, Ned started off as, I'd written a play about it when I was 20, and there was a point where I had to write something, and I figured what would be the easiest one to write, and I mistakenly thought Neds would write itself quicker, and it didn't. I hit a lot of brick walls with Neds, because very stupidly, because some of it was very close to how I was brought up and things that has happened to me, you think then it'll happen quicker, but it doesn't, because you come across the autobiographical wall. I forget who said it, but just because it happened to you doesn't mean to say it's interesting. and you make that mistake, it's like, yes, that happened to me. So the whole world needs to know. And then you hit those walls, it's like, wow, it's actually very boring. You know, to anyone outside of you or your friends or your family, why should it matter? Other people have lives just as interesting or as awful as yours. So that became a mistake in itself. So once I got rid of the autobiographical kind of aspect, then the drama took off, because it became a fiction. It wasn't about me being faithful to fact. It was about being faithful to your pursuit of that particular truth.
I mean, you very carefully use music, fantastic Bowie and T-Rex and other tracks from the time. Particularly, I mean, I felt a wee sort of almost echo of Kubrick, a couple of the fight scenes. I wondered, as you kind of get older as a director now, do you carry some of the greats you admired as a younger man, as a director, into your own films?
Well, particularly in a film like Neds, because it was set in 1974, what I wanted was to allow, it wasn't a homage, it was to try and give people a kind of subliminal sense of the time. So stylistically, I wanted the movies and the plays of the time to influence the film itself. So there's bits of plays for today, there's bits of Ken in there.
And Hector's House as well.
Hector's in there, Monty Python's obviously, but in terms of its shooting style, I wanted a little elements of Kubrick, tiny little bits of Peckinpah, just tiny little, not clever, smart art references. It was just to give a flavour of the time, that those were the big influences of that era, because the kids at that time, the guys you looked up to cinematically, were principally Peckinpah and Kubrick. You know, some of us knew Hitchcock, Scorsese, and those lads weren't on the scene at that time. It was primarily Kubrick and Peckinpah and Robert Altman.
It's funny, though, in the film, though, it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't strike you as a viewer as a stylistic homage. It just adds, it's part of the grist of that time, as you say. What about the kids? You talked about a great actor playing the teacher. Looking at the eyes of those kids in the background, listening and stuff to that scene go on, there wasn't a kind of twitch or a contraction of I'm being in a film and stuff. No. So how did you go about working with children, if I can put it euphemistically?
Yeah, you just try and keep the camera. You can't keep the camera away from them. So the best thing to do is get great actors like Stevie, who's the teacher. Dead simple. I mean, if you've got a great actor being a teacher, the kids will automatically, it's their teacher, and they forget about camera. So if you've got someone who wasn't doing it as well, then you'll find they'll wander and start looking down the lens. You know, to be honest, there was a part of me kind of wanted them to look down the lens. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. You get all this, because there's a nonsense on a film set. The first thing an AD's got to say is, and no looking at camera. You know, you've got a great big fucking camera, and everybody says, don't look at it. Well, I don't know about you, I want to look at it. I mean, that's the first thing somebody says, don't look at camera. What camera? Oh, that camera. Oh, sorry. I mean, it's a silly thing to do. So I don't ever think I've ever said to a supporting artist, don't look at camera. Because if you don't mention it, the chances are they won't look, because it's not interesting. There's a brilliant moment in The Godfather, one of my favourite moments in The Godfather, and it's when Pacino's arrived in Los Angeles to see Mo Green, and John Cazale has to throw all the girls out, and he throws a band out. There's this brilliant moment. I've always loved it. And it's the little guy with specs, and he's getting tossed out of the room, and he looks right down the fucking lens, and he virtually waves at you like, I'm in a movie with Al Pacino, John Cazale, and it's just, I love it, because there's a genuine innocence about it, and it actually is in a context, because he's throwing out guys Literally, it's like he's getting thrown out of the movie, not out of the room. It's like, you look down the lens, get out of the fucking movie, you know. And I love that, and because those are the little moments in cinema that we take to. I mean, this nonsense about that scene won't work because I can see that supporting artist looking down the lens. I'm sorry, if somebody in the background's looking down camera, if that takes you out your moment in the film, then I'm sorry, the film's at fault. The film has a problem.